All right, guys, we're gonna give this a minute here to get started before we get into anything. Make sure I got everything going right on my end. Yep, there goes the live notification. So now that it's out, let's wait and see if we get anybody in.
All right.
Yep, got one in.
Look 441.
Yep, we got a couple coming, so we'll give it just another minute or two. Let the know. There's Miss Crystal. How you doing, Miss Crystal?
Jeff Brown, he's on.
Crystal's one of my favorites. She's a sister from another mother.
Everyone's
She's
got it.
act, she's actually good friends with Gary.
Okay.
Let me check the. We got 11 on, so we'll go ahead and start real quick. And anybody that jumps in late can get caught up.
Right.
So I want to give you guys a little update and something that I've been working on the side for a while now. Um, Most of y'all know that for all the years that I've been doing this, I've been pretty much doing it by myself. And what we're planning to start doing is this is my good buddy Noel. Noel and I have known each other since way back in 2016. That's when we first hooked up. And Noel is actually going to start helping me out with some stuff on the channel. We're going to start doing more stuff together so that it's not just me all the time. You'll be getting hopefully both of us. So you're getting two different angles, two different perspectives. And I say different, it's really not that different because we're fairly well in line with each other on things.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have little different takes on stuff just because of differences in background and experience and all that kind of stuff. Um, but this is something we've been wanting to do to try and get um, more information out to y'all, more stuff that is near and dear to our hearts and that we think is important uh, to share and that you need to know. Again, it's still going to be focused around the same thing that I've always done, the armed prepared citizen and everything I've always talked about in that regards. I just want to start being able to bring you more from somebody else besides just me and reinforce what I'm saying, but also bring other, thoughts and perspectives and ideas to the table too. So I'm going to let Noel kind of give y'all just a brief, or however brief he wants to, summary kind of his background. Like I said, we've known each other since 2016. We've spent quite a lot of time together. We have trained together. We have done stuff together. He's somebody I consider one of my best friends. So I'll let him kind of fill y'all in real quick on, like I said, his background and what he's bringing to the table and all that, so you'll kind of know where he's coming from.
Yeah. Thanks, John. So uh, I've done a couple of things. I've had two careers. One started out as a young lieutenant. I started out as an armor officer, but I did go to Ranger School. So the Army started a new unit. It's called First the 509th Parachute Infantry Regiment. And what that was, some of you Army guys may know this, it's the opposing forces at the Joint Readiness Training Center. So it's all light infantry tactics, though, as an armor guy. So I lived as a guerrilla for 3 years. I lived out of a cache. We had to adhere to certain tactics, replicating a Soviet surrogate type threat at the time, because this was back in the 80s. But we did develop our own techniques on how to operate as a guerrilla, and that was a very very it was just a great assignment. I loved it. A lot of time in the field, but So and I was a part of the reconnaissance company. My company commander was a special forces guy. We had special forces, half a special forces A team. And so, of course, what did I do? I volunteered to go through special forces training. Went through selection, went through the Q course. I was an officer, so I went through the officer part of the Q course. Got hurt the first time, did some other things, got out of the Army, then went back in the Q course again, the Special Forces course. Didn't have to go through selection, but I went through the Q course again. Graduated, worked there at Fort Bragg and G3 Ops for a couple of years as a guard guy. After that, while I was there, I was also writing resumes to different law enforcement places. I got picked up by the DEA, so I got hired by the DEA. I still remained a National Guard guy. Later into the reserves, where I retired. But so I went to Houston with the DEA, and I was an EMT with DEA. They have their own EMT program. And the time that I was in DEA, I was in the reserves, and I did go to Iraq, fought in Iraq with the MPs. I was a major, battalion executive officers, kind of vanilla, maintenance, so forth. So I was able to go do that. Came back. I retired from the military. I later retired from DEA. Had 3 summits in DEA. I was in Houston. I was in Guam. And Guam is where actually we actually met there.
Yep.
As a
Yeah, you were still in
2016.
Guam when
We
we
were
first met.
Facebooking and yeah. So retired, started my own business, Bishop 30 Solutions. We did firearms training. We did active shooter training and planning for churches, businesses, so forth and so on. So, I was an officer, okay? So planning, I'm big into planning. That was my bread and butter. And that's kind of what I like to do. And it's John and I, if I don't know something, he knows something. And if he don't know something, I know something. So it's kind of a great, I don't want to call it marriage because that's kind of weird, but it's, and we talk all the time. Love the things that he's doing. So that's kind of, I'm not sure that's kind of about,
Yeah.
so.
So as y'all can see, Noel's got a pretty good, pretty varied background as well as far as experience and stuff. So he brings a lot to the table, and that's what I wanted to get him more involved in this for. So that's kind of the whole point of doing this tonight. I just wanted to introduce y'all to him and put it out there. We're going to be doing more stuff together in the future. I want to start trying to, I don't want to say grow and expand things because I like keeping things on a very personal level like I've got them now. But I want to be able to bring y'all more stuff so that hopefully if I'm telling you something, it won't be just me saying it. You'll have somebody else saying it as well.
Yeah.
So, or there may be small things that we differ on, which doesn't happen often, but it does. And lo and behold, we can actually differ on things and still meet in the middle and be okay.
It doesn't happen. It has happened, but it doesn't happen very often at all.
Not very much, not very much. But
No.
and also it's kind of fortuitous timing. Why am I getting a phone call right now?
NSA, they want to talk to you.
Yeah, hang on a second. I gotta do something here real quick.
But we've been talking.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of a live stream. You want to be a guest?
Oh shit, I'm not really set up for that.
Yeah,
I suppose I can pop on real quick.
well, everybody's hearing you right now, so
Let's see. Do I need to turn my camera on or what?
well, no, let me send you a link. It's gonna be on Restream like you use.
All right.
So hang on a second. That's my good buddy Brent. Um, we'll do this real quick. Hang on, guys. We're doing this on the fly with
On the fly.
no.
Live TV is always the hardest, man.
This is
It's
this
always
is
the hardest.
live and unscripted, as always. Yep, Santiago's in the house. There's my other brother from another mother. No, you know Santiago.
Yep.
He the man.
Good to see him on. Good to see him on. I mean, while Brent's getting on, I mean, we've done some talking and we got some good content to bring. You know, and we like to get people, out away from the keyboard and onto the field doing stuff.
Right.
That we promote that all the time. So,
All right, y'all get your hands out of your pockets. Sergeant Major's here.
What's going on? You guys hear me all right? Comms check.
Yep,
yeah,
you're good.
Awesome.
So I don't think I've ever introduced you, but Brent, this is my buddy Noel.
Hey, Brent.
What's going on, Noel?
You just missed his background. He was he's let's see if I can do a quick summation here. He's Ranger qualified. He was SF. He's a Green Beret, and also retired from DEA and did a lot of time down in your neck of the woods. Well, not directly in your neck of the woods, but over in Houston.
Oh, nice.
So he and I are going to start doing a bunch of stuff on here together. And I haven't told anybody, Brent. Should we spill the beans now and give him a teaser, or leave it?
We'll keep some OPSEC.
Keep some OPSEC. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep some OPSEC then. Yeah, Crystal. But wait, there's more. Half the people I'd want to bring in right now, this show would go downhill in a hurry because Santiago's in the comments, and we bring him in here. Brent knows how much trouble he can be. But
he's a handful for sure.
Well, what you got going on out your way, Brent?
Man, I've actually got another stream I'm going on here in like 45 minutes. So
okay.
I was just calling you to talk baseball here.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about those teams maybe tomorrow or something.
Okay.
Depending on what your schedule is, just hit me up and we'll play it by ear.
Okay, sounds good.
But if y'all aren't following Brent's channel, you should be. Which he's the.
I follow it.
He's the big kahuna here. Brent's got all the subscribers. I don't. Yeah. I'm a little tadpole in the pond. So.
I got like your channel. I got a lot of subscribers, but I don't get a lot of views. I'm the biggest small channel out there.
Well, we've been discussing that too, and with you and some of the other guys that we've been talking with about that, it's kind of made me start going and looking at some of the numbers, which I've never really paid attention to. And yeah, percentage wise, I'm probably right there about the same as you. If you look at subscriber count versus view count versus what's getting pushed out for the numbers, yeah, we're probably about the same. So it's definitely a thing. Definitely a thing.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but I don't think anybody goes on YouTube expecting to profit off of YouTube.
No. I mean,
you can't get rich off it.
Yeah. No,
I'm definitely not. It's more a labor of love at this point.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. Well, don't let me hold you up if you got another high-speed show to go to.
No, I'll stay in the fight for a little bit. What are you guys talking about?
I was just introducing Noel and kind of letting everybody know that, going forward, he and I are going to start doing more stuff on the channel together. I want to start incorporating him more and bringing his background and, his both military and law enforcement background to the table and stuff that he's done, and kind of merging all those thoughts and experiences together to kind of just bring more to the table and grow it a little bit.
Yeah, for the
Awesome.
average guy,
Yeah.
the average guy can take care of himself, take care of his family. You don't have to have a lot of Gucci gear, just know what you're doing. So
Yeah. I'm a little jealous, Noel. I see your UW gear T-shirt. I don't have one of those.
Yeah, I'm a proud winner of it. Actually, I wore it all day today, cleaning the garage, by the way.
I thought I sent you one of those.
No, I don't have I got UW gear rigs. I don't have a T-shirt though.
You know what? I don't even think I got any of those. We didn't get many of them when we got them. And like, as soon as I said I had some, they were sold like that. I was lucky to grab like one for me and one for a couple other folks, but I have to dig through everything over there and see if I got any still hidden anywhere. I might have one or two left. If I don't have one in your size, we'll just cut the sleeves and neck out, and you can wear it as a muscle shirt.
Well, that's the way you Marines wore them, right? I mean, you cut the sleeves off, the T-shirt and all that. Isn't that right?
Only when you got to use your sleeve as ship paper.
Well, there you go. There's that. That's why I always save all the paper from the MREs and put it in my pocket in the field. Then I can actually go to the bathroom one time. Takes about 10 of them.
I remember when we reached Baghdad, dudes had their skivvy shirts. They look like, you remember in like high school when you played football, the little short shirts you'd wear for under your pads. That's what guys' skivvy shirts look like, because they were like slowly, cutting strips off their skivvy shirt to use them as ship paper during the invasion because it ran out.
Yeah, because them freaking little packets of TP and the MREs, those only go so far. You can't get a whole lot of wiping done with those.
You got to have like 10 of them, guys. That's what I'm saying. I always put them in my cargo pocket.
So, see, here's the thing, and a lot of people don't know this. I was taught as a young Marine the proper way to use those, because you see that little pack and you're like, you open it up and you're like, how in the hell is this going to work on my ass? So the trick is, for those of you that are watching and don't know, you take the whole thing and you wipe your ass with it, right? And then you peel off the shitty layers. And then once you get down to the clean layers, you do it again. And you just keep doing that until you run out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll be damned. It works.
No, it does work. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything in the Army comes with instructions. You think they'd have instructions for that too, but
no.
That's trial and error.
Yeah.
No. That was literally, we're going to fold this little thing up as small as we can fold it and tell you it's TP. Here, figure it out.
That's why I say you got to have about 10 of them.
It's almost like, remember that Sylvester Stallone movie with the seashells?
Yes.
Yeah, it's almost like that when the first time you see that, and you're like, how do you use this?
That was the Man and the 3 seashells, and I still don't know how to use the 3 seashells.
Demolition Man, that's what it was.
Yeah. Nobody has ever explained how the 3 seashells actually worked, because they never explained it in the movie.
No.
All they said were they just made fun of him for not knowing how to use them. And it's like, okay, well, how can you expect the guy to know how to use them if you don't explain it? He ain't been here for that.
That's a great movie, man. If you want to like insight on the direction of our country, watch that movie.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's so dystopian, it's almost scary.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's where we're at.
And it's funny because I'm sure you've seen it, Brent. DHS and Customs and Border Patrol just put out this thing. Hey, there might be foreign terrorists trying to get across the border. Really?
Yeah,
really?
Nobody's been saying that.
Yeah.
When did y'all figure this out? But you know what that is. All that is a CYA. That's so when they kick off the stupidity here, they can say, well, see, we warned you
Told
about
you so.
it. It'll be coming.
Yeah. Told you. We gave you intel on it. Yep.
Right.
It's good intel.
And the rest of us have been screaming about it since forever. And everybody looks, oh, you're just, being stupid and fear mongering and stuff. No. I know people in Border Patrol that have told me, yes, these people are coming like mad and have been for years.
Yeah,
What do you
it's not
do?
going to be good. I mean, I don't know what the next war is going to be. I have my suspicions, but it's almost a guarantee that the days of fighting overseas alone are over. There's going to be so much. There's already so much infiltration into the U.S. from
Yeah.
our wide open borders that I mean, look what a couple rifle rounds did to electrical substation, taking out power. I mean, imagine,
And if
imagine,
you don't think that wasn't a test run,
yeah, imagine
that was
that
You
taking
know,
place all over the country.
you know, and I put this in a chat with us the other day is that, you got these Mexican cartels that have armored vehicles. They've got machine guns. What if you take 200 of those guys, put them across the southern border, penetrate into the U.S., go to the first major city, and just start wreaking havoc? Who's going to stop them?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, if I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I'm sure you guys, we all are like-minded individuals. I mean, watching the Hamas stuff attacks, like
Yeah.
you watching it, and it's like immediately, if you didn't associate that with like the southern border, I mean, how easy would that be for cartels if they wanted to get some payback for something to
And
do
they've
that?
got money.
Oh yeah, probably way more money than Hamas does.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true. Even Iran. But they work with China and all these other countries to get people through. So China says, "Hey, look, remember that thing we talked about you getting those 200 guys and go up to Philadelphia or something with your armored cars? Why don't you go ahead and do that?" So now we got a problem. So
Yep. Which reminds me, I need to send you something after we get off, Brent. I'll shoot it to you. A little breakdown of something the other day on a related note that was right here in the States. I sent it to Noel. Knows what I'm talking about, but
yeah,
I forgot to send it to you. I think you might find it of interest. But yeah, I mean that our oceans that have long been our protective moat are no longer that same protective moat that they always were. And there's a very strong likelihood that anything that kicks off overseas, the next war is very likely to be a true world war, that in that there won't be a continent that it won't be touched by it,
Yeah,
including ours.
I've
no,
already
I
seen
agree.
already seen news reports of the U.S. bases have already been attacked in Iraq and I believe Syria as
Yeah.
well
Yep.
by
Yeah,
drone and rocket fire. And it's like, where is this stuff on our news? It's there if you're looking for it, but if you're not looking for it, if you're average Joe Blow citizen,
Right.
they
like,
don't know about it.
If
I
it's
would
not on
think it's a big deal.
MSNBC and CNN, they don't know about it. You got to go
Yeah,
actually look for it to find it. That's the problem. They do that intentionally because if they keep it out of people's minds, then it doesn't exist and it isn't happening. I mean, there was somebody today that I saw that I got sent to me that was tracking a C-17 coming out of the Middle East heading towards Ramstein, and it was running a medical call sign, meaning it was carrying injured or wounded U.S. personnel to Ramstein, Germany, to the hospital there.
Wow.
And to use a C-17 for that, that
You've got
means
one or two. Yeah,
it was more than a couple of people.
yeah,
oh yeah,
So
yeah. Well, I mean, if what they say happened, you're going to have casualties. I mean, we're shooting rockets at them. So
yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff in Ukraine has simply been a proof of concept situation for a lot of different entities. Um, Also saw the stuff that I'm sure you all seen where they've already showed where Hamas and Hezbollah both have tons of AT-4s, in-laws, etc., that have all come from Afghanistan and Ukraine
yep.
and have made it
I saw the
all the
video.
way down.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
that whole thing's, and if they've got those, and we know what happened in Benghazi back in the day. How many of those groups over there are sitting on a bunch of stingers or iglas and have just been saving them for the right time and right opportunity, and not wanting to waste them? I mean, next thing
Well,
you know, we start seeing planes dropping out of the sky left and right.
you've got the treasure trove that was left over in Afghanistan too.
Right.
I mean,
That's
that
like
was a
and
massive amount. Yeah. So
yep.
between Afghanistan and what's happening, or what's put on the black market or stolen in Ukraine, I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there. A lot of stuff out there.
That's an excellent point you brought up with the Manpads, John, because remember like the big hoopla after Soviet Afghan conflict when we were given Manpads to the Mujahideen, and like operations were conducted all over the world to try to recover those, right? Like hell, even in the movie Navy SEALs, that's one of their missions is going after and trying to get those. But think of all the stingers and other Manpads from these other NATO nations that have gone to Ukraine. Like those are not all staying in that country. They're getting dispersed.
When you're driving trucks to the Polish-Ukrainian border and stopping, and when Igor shows up with his 1984 Mazda, and you're just shoving this stuff in his trunk, and he says, "This for the Ukrainian army, thank you, das vidanya," and drives off with it, and that's how you're unloading that stuff, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
But no, they'll assure us that it's all, and been in good hands. It's all, squared away. So, but no.
I was just gonna say my biggest complaint from day one. Like I'm all for helping out the Ukrainians, giving them some munitions and things of that nature, even weapon systems. But I was like, why are we giving them our latest and greatest stuff? Like we're sending them like top of the line javelins, like our latest and greatest HIMARS rocket artillery. I just saw a news article the other day where the Russians said they found a HIMARS rocket completely intact, and they sent it back to Moscow to study. And I'm like, why did we give them our latest and greatest stuff, right? Why? Surely we have a bunch of Cold War era stockpiles of munitions, and I know they're out there because my first deployment in Iraq, like the 7.62 Link ammunition we got for the invasion was all Vietnam era stuff,
right.
Right. So
it's, I don't know, that whole situation, because I'm still on the maybe helping out Ukraine a little bit, but with very finite limits, because the amount of stuff we've sent over there, we should have been keeping most of that for ourselves because of where we find ourselves at right now. If the crap breaks loose everywhere, we ain't got nothing anymore. We're in serious trouble. I mean, heck, we even had a huge, I think 2 or 3 huge warehouses in Israel where we had stuff stored at as an kind of an off-site, storage place. So we had something, in reserve, and we cleaned those warehouses out and sent it all to Ukraine. So we literally have nothing there as a fallback reserve anymore that we can use, the Israelis can use, or anybody else can use. And as much as I think Israel needs to go in and clean house, I'm not even big on us sending Israel a whole bunch of stuff. I'm kind of more like, you know what? The rest of the world's got to start taking care of itself. We got to keep this stuff for us because we got to take care of us. We're taking care of everybody else to our own detriment anymore.
Yeah, I agree. And Ukraine, as I remember, is a very rich country. I mean, they've got a lot of resources, and they have a border with Russia. You would have thought that there would have been some thought put into it that, hey, look, we need more A, B, C, and D in case this thing goes bad. But it didn't seem like it. And I know they're a small country, but you got to think about those things. That's just my opinion. So, because they just stormed right in. I mean, there was no stopping them, Russia. So,
I mean, I'm not a tinfoil hat dude, but like, if I was gonna pick a conspiracy theory, like, what better position can you possibly be to be like communist China, right? And if your end state is, hey, we want to recapture Taiwan, like, what better way to go about that than like, hey, let's coordinate with the Russians and the Iranians, and let's let the Americans sink all their arms and munitions in supporting Ukraine and this long drawn out conflict. Oh, and then in about a little over a year, hey, Iranian buddies, you guys kick some stuff off with your proxies, and get Israel involved. We know the U.S. will have to back them and support them there, so that will drain some more of their stockpiles. And then in another year, when both these conflicts have dragged out for going on 3 years now, hey, the U.S. is far behind, and their response to our efforts is not going to be as great as it would had these things not taken place.
Dude, I've been proposing that theory since day one. And if you look at it, exactly what you said, we know China plays a long game. And I've long said, you know what? As much as China and Russia have got their issues with each other, Russia wants to pretty much dominate the European area. China wants Asia. They're really not interested in us other than they just need us out of the way and out of the picture, right? So what better way than to use our own Cold War tactics against us in a slightly different manner of knowing, okay, Russia, you go into Ukraine. We know America's going to commit stuff to it. Maybe we can get all of NATO to commit stuff to it. Send all your worst troops into the meat grinder. Send all your old, Cold War era stuff into it. Save all your good stuff. Drag this thing out as long as you can. Just make it a grinder and get NATO and America to steadily dump stuff into it. Now you kick something off in the Middle East. We're sending stuff there. And the next thing you know, if we can't support both at the same time, NATO is pretty much out of stuff. They've admitted that. That's part of the problem. NATO doesn't have anything left to send Ukraine. So Russia gets ready to steamroll Ukraine. The proxies in the Middle East are doing. Iran kicks loose. We're spinning in 36 different directions. And then here's the other little, and again, I'm throwing out theory. I'm not suggesting this is the thing. If China takes their little pit bull and takes the leash off of him, aka North Korea, and North Korea starts kicking off stuff in South Korea, and then China moves on Taiwan, who do we support? We don't have anybody in Taiwan, but we've got thousands of people and families in South Korea. We would have to commit to helping South Korea just to protect all the American citizens and American military in South Korea. Taiwan would be wide open. So would Japan or anything else that China wanted to move on. I mean, the Japanese probably give them a run for their money, but still, I mean, China's China. What can we honestly do in the world? Then our border being open, that is, Hezbollah, Hamas, China, whoever, kick off all their proxy groups here, and you got people riding around popping substations in every state, spending $3 worth of ammo to freaking knock the power out everywhere. We're in such chaos here at home. We've got to start pulling stuff from overseas back here just to try to maintain a little bit of control here. And that's the other thing that Noel and I have talked about. People just don't understand that if it went truly a grid down bad scenario here in the continental U.S., the American military and American government only has the assets to control and secure maybe 3 or 4 major cities, and that's it. They don't understand what kind of numbers it would take to secure 3 or 4 major cities and how big the continental United States is. There's only so much you can do with 1.5 million people. And it will take that to secure, and they'll need to secure DC, a couple of port cities on the east and west coast, maybe 1 or 2 in the middle, something big like Dallas. It's got a huge international airport, things like that. But other than that, the rest of the country is on its own. It's chaos.
Well, let me tell you, after Hurricane Katrina, I was sent there the day after. I was there the first 9 days. Eventually, they had, martial law. The 82nd Airborne was down there. We were on patrols every day, okay? To control a city like that is almost impossible. People are coming out of the woodwork. They're coming around the alleys in the dark. I mean, it was one fight after the next fight. And like I said, 82nd Airborne was down there. All right. After a while, it was controllable. And in that city, you only had about less than half the population, anyways. So, these cities are going to go. And don't think Americans are going to, saw it firsthand. Don't think Americans say, oh, well, Apple Pie and Chevrolet, we're all going to stick together. They ain't, because they didn't. So it's going to be mayhem in the big cities.
Just throwing out theory, but Brent, you brought it up. And that's something that I've been honestly legit pondering for a long time now. That really, man, I don't like where this could potentially go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean they just have so many tools in their toolbox, right? They could do the route everybody's expecting, the taking out the power grid type scenarios. They could start civil unrest like we saw with the 2020 George Floyd riots, something like that, spark racial tensions and get that stuff going again. I mean, they just got so much stuff they can use against us. To prep the battlefield. It's going to be scary.
In the chat there, Mr. Joshua brings up a good point. Ammunition companies are being bought by foreign companies, which means we're going to be limited in our ammo. We're not even going to be able to defend ourselves. I mean, hopefully you got a lot, but once that bullet goes, it's gone. So
yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of coincidences in the ammo industry in the past 8 months that have just been very, very strange. So, I mean, I know we kind of gotten off into the weeds here. I originally was just kind of wanting to update the channel and introduce
fun
y'all.
Conversation though.
But we kind of did that, and then the superstar pops in. So I got to take advantage of that when I can, and because I haven't been able to get on Brent's live streams in forever just because I've freaking had my head buried in work so deep. I mean, I had to make an exception tonight and stop early just because I had to get this done without putting it off. But so I know because folks have actually asked me, I haven't seen you on any of Brent stuff lately, and I can't. I'm cutting this stuff all the time and doing it. So it's not that I don't want to be on.
I hear you, man. I know you're busy.
I think we're going to be doing this about every Tuesday, John.
I'd like to start doing it regular. I'd like to start being able to get back on Brent stuff too, but not to change it. But Brent, a mutual person that we know sent out a message a while ago. I'm just looking at, and he said that there's rumors of a higher than normal activity at pizzerias near the Pentagon.
Well,
might mean people are working some all night shifts.
Well, Hillary Clinton's in town, the pizzeria thing. I don't know. So.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, interesting times coming up, Phyllis.
Yeah.
All right, John. I gotta.
Yep. Pop smoke. As soon as I get back on with you, Brent, you need to bring Noel on sometime too, because I think you'd like bringing his experience to the table too on what you're talking about.
I'd love to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I had this strong group of folks that were pretty regular, and then it seems like over the last few months, some of them are starting to peel off, and obviously everybody's got life, right? And I've had to get the B teamers in there to sit in. And now it's almost like every week I've got to shoot from the hip.
Yeah, I know. We'll start seeing if because I'd like to do it both ways. I'd like for me and Noel to get back on your stuff, but I'd like to start having you back on here occasionally too with me and Noel, and we can cover two different bases from two different angles. So
yeah, I'd love to do it. So all right, fellas, it's good to see y'all.
We'll see you later, brother. Take care.
Bye.
anyway, let me look through the chat real quick here.
Yeah, I've been looking at them as we're talking.
Oh, all right, Modern Frontiersman's here. Good evening, sir. How are you? Trying to see how many. There's DJ. Um, so that's kind of the other thing, I guess, is kind of a good point to segue in that one of the things that Noel and I want to start doing together in these is we have people that we want to start bringing on, and I don't want to necessarily do like really long shows per se. I want to start bringing guys on and get like little 15-30 minute segments so it's easily digestible for you. You know, people can watch it and sit through it. But we've got a number of mutual folks that we want to bring on to talk about different subjects, talk about their related businesses and such, and just start trying to get, you know, as much as that other information from other folks out there as we can for y'all. And a lot of them y'all recognize and already know, but it's just another avenue that we want to continue in a kind of a big networking circle of folks that we know and that know what they're doing, so that we can support them, they can support us, and in the process of us doing all the mutual support, we get good information, good product, gear, good equipment out to you guys, so that everybody, you know, knows about it and can get you more. Understand where I'm coming from. This we're going to be doing this from the legit practical side. Okay, so don't think this is going to be entertainment or anything like that. If you're looking for cool, funny, witty stuff, if you're looking for flashy graphics and intros and cool cut clips, and that's not what we're doing. We're not here to entertain you. We're here to try to get you good, practical, useful, real world information that you can use for situations that we have a strong concern are coming, but pray don't come. That
And,
that
and, and the people that we to bring on are like, they're experts in their field, and
right.
their skill sets. I mean, they're solid. You know, we both know them. So John knows a few more than I do, but you know, the guys that we've been talking about, they're solid guys. So
Yeah, I mean, and it's all people that we, you know, do stuff with, both from a business standpoint, but also just a personal networking standpoint as well.
and some
You
we've done
guys,
some really good training with.
yes, and that's something that I can't stress to you guys enough. I've said this in the past to y'all. I only let y'all see what I want you to see of my personal side. And believe me when I tell you, we do a lot of stuff together that doesn't ever get video done or
Yeah,
anything else.
none of it does.
And honestly, there are times that we have done stuff together that we went into it with the full intention of doing video, and then we get there and get into the middle of it and start doing it, and either forget to do the video or just run out of time or just can't because we're too focused on what we're doing, because we're not putting together entertainment shows for you. We're doing our own training and practice all the time. And if it works out where I can get some video done on it, then it does. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. So when you do see something, understand we're not doing it from an entertainment standpoint. It's legit stuff that we're trying to do. That doesn't mean every once in a while you won't see something funny or goofy, and we have a sense of humor. We enjoy laughing, but it's also this is real for us. This isn't a game. It's not a hobby. It's not a joke. It's not just trying to make money business wise. It's not trying to entertain you. It's not trying to be popular. I'm not trying to have some, 3 million subscriber YouTube channel and, just entertain you with bread and circuses. Okay. That's not what I've ever done. That's not what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Because, Noel feels the same way about this that I do, that this is serious stuff. and we want to bring you serious content. So that's kind of where we're coming from.
And it's somewhat timely with what else is going on. I mean, because it is
It
serious.
really is. I mean, 'cause we started talking about this, probably doing what we're talking about doing now, probably a little over a month ago,
Yeah.
and it's just been like almost like a little divine providence that all of a sudden the things that started happening since we started talking about doing this.
Yeah.
So, I
I've
don't want
had those
anybody
very thoughts too.
I don't want anybody to think that we're trying to play off current events and take advantage of current events. We started planning this out long before current events happened.
Right.
It's just been coincidental that they've started happening. So I'm going to take that as a cue that we need to be doing what we're planning on doing. So,
Yeah.
but trying to glance through I missed a bunch of the comments. Let me kind of back up in here. Um, well, and for example, one of the guys that we can get on at some point, right there in the chat, Modern Frontiersman. I don't know if you've ever checked out his channel, Noel, but
I have.
good.
I've checked
Okay.
them out. I like it.
I'd like to get Josh on sometime. Get his insight and perspective on some things. And like I said, it's all about trying to network information
Yeah.
and such, so that I sound like a broken record all the time, but guys, it's always about, everything is about, and this is going to sound really weird to say because in most of life it's not, but in this context, it's all about you and your situation, because your situation is unique to you as far as where you're at, who you have access to, what your economic situation is, um, your climate, terrain, everything, experience. So everything from how you're preparing and getting ready on every level, from just the everyday practical side all the way up to the full blown grid down, zombie apocalypse side, how you're setting up your gear, your weapons, how you're planning and preparing. All those things are different and unique to you, because what's right for what Noel and I do doesn't mean it's exactly what you should carbon copy. And I get so frustrated with other people on not just YouTube, but the internet in general, social media and stuff. Some of them have some very, very, credentialed backgrounds, but they put stuff out without any context as a very cut and dry thing. And people just blindly, hero worship them and cool guy worship them and just blindly copy what all these entertainers are putting out. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's right for you and your situation. And that's why I want to keep bringing other people and other perspectives and other ideas, so that you can pick and choose the different things that set up and work for you, and not, what works for Noel works for me, or what
Right.
we're doing together.
And you don't have to be a millionaire. You don't
No.
have to have the latest and greatest. Have what works. And like I said at the beginning, the main thing is, you got a lot of keyboard warriors. It's very important, and we want our audience to get out and train, do something. The bad guys are training. They want to come after you. You got to be training too. And what does that mean? That doesn't mean that you got to hit the range every single day. That doesn't mean go for a run, keep yourself in shape. Lift weights. Do whatever you do. Keep the body going. But get out from. Go ahead. What?
Interrupt you real quick, because this is something that you and I have talked about. One of the things, and this is just a little snippet of what Noel and I have talked about. So the physical side of like working out and getting in shape, right? That's one specific topic that he and I have talked about, and want to put together some videos and discussions on, of exactly what Noel just said. You don't have to have fancy gym membership. You don't have to try to be an Ironman triathlete. There's a lot of stuff that you can do right there at your own home to get yourself in better physical shape. And again, everybody's got things they got to take into account. Noel's had some knee
Both
work,
of my knees replaced. Yeah.
both knees replaced.
Thanks for
I've
your
got
estimate.
I got some titanium parts in my back.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a jacked up neck. Um, but there's ways that you have to work around your individual situation, but you can do stuff at home. And that's things we want to try to bring y'all some practical things of, okay, how can you do some little simple workouts on the privacy of your own back porch? I mean, you could be in an apartment and do
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that we want to bring to you. So those are kind of the things that we're talking about. And there's Robert in the house, and also I saw him pop in earlier. First In's another one that I want to introduce you to, and maybe see if we can talk him on to coming on sometime.
Okay.
Modern
Sounds
Frontiersman.
good.
See, you're already reading my mind. That's something that Noel and I have been doing for a long time. Do PT with your rifle. There's simple
Yeah.
exercises you can do using your own body weight and your own rifle weight. You dry fire your gun, work out with your gun. What's the one thing that we're talking about that you might have to be holding up or carrying a lot? Your gun. Why not work out with your gun and get used to lifting
Mm-hmm.
and holding and moving that weight around? There's all kind of things like that you can do with stuff you already have that don't cost you any money and are simple things. That's not going to turn you into an Ironman. Like I said, you're not going to go freaking, win triathlons, but you can get in better shape and condition than what you are, probably in ways that you might surprise you. And the thing you'll have to accept is that the cool kid club uh, will probably laugh at you about it and tell you how you're wasting your time, but you got to learn to tune those people out and just ignore them because
Yeah.
they're wrong.
That's exactly right.
I didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying. I killed
No,
your train.
no, that was great. And we do different workouts, but it's because, you know, like I got fake knees and he's got titanium in his back, and we keep in shape, and I know he keeps in shape because we go out and train and do stuff. So whatever fits you, and kind of think of like where do you need to train? If I got to put on a heavy rucksack and I got to walk, to the next town with a bunch of supplies because everything has hit the fan, what do I need to train? Well, you need to get your shoulders pretty strong. You need to make sure that your legs are strong, and your core needs to be able to support that. It's not about having Gucci big arms. It's about being able to do the mission and having some cardio. That's my opinion in it. So,
And you don't have to be able to freaking run 3 miles because you'd be far better off. I mean, you could have a freaking 30-foot little subdivision backyard and practice doing wind sprints. Just
yeah,
the old Army and Marine Corps, I'm up, he sees me, I'm down kind of wind sprint. Those little 3 to 5 second sprints, right? If you just did those in your backyard, run, drop down, count to 10, jump up, run, drop down, count to 10, simulate running from cover to cover, you will be doing far more for yourself, in my opinion, than if you could, run 3 miles straight, because everybody thinks that when things go bad, you got to be able to run everywhere. Well, I don't want to run anywhere if things go bad.
yeah.
The only time I'm going to be running is if somebody's shooting at me. The rest
And
of
you
the
know
time,
what, John? What you were describing sounds very much like a burpee. You can do
very,
burpees, and
very
man, those will
similar.
get you tired too.
Yeah.
That'll kick your butt.
Only I don't recommend doing them if you have a problem with your blood pressure dropping very
Well, no,
low when
there's
you get
that. There's
up
that.
and down. But
Yeah.
that said, no, doing burpees, I'm not going to be running anywhere when things go bad, because you
No.
go to running, you're going to run into trouble that you might have spotted if you had slowed down and been a little bit more
Yeah.
cautious and slow in your movements. The only time you should be running anywhere when things go bad is when people are shooting at you or someone's hurt that you got to get to. So, but nobody ever talks about that. It's always, oh, you got to be able to run, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
If you can, great, right? If you can get out and run forever, great. Knock yourself out. keep yourself in that good shape. But for those of you that can't, don't think you've got to. You'd be better off being able to run 10 consecutive wind sprints for, 10 yards
And
than,
and so just so that you guys that are listening, these are the kind, we kind of got off on the PT, but these are the kind of the content that we want to have, when we'll take a subject, okay, talk about PT. Next thing we'll talk about, I don't know, a rifle. Next thing we'll talk about patrolling. Have those conversations and get to the nitty gritty. We'll tell what we do, and then, you guys are live streaming, chime in, tell us what you want or what you do. So I was just kind of using that as an example of where we
yeah,
will
yeah.
go with this.
Well, like even like a lot of what we do is oriented around more rural stuff, just by nature of where our place is at and where we're going to
Yeah,
be at, what we're going to be doing, right? But there's a lot of stuff I want to start getting into for those of you that might not have that. You might be stuck in your, suburban subdivision. That's There's still things that you can do.
yep.
Noel's got some stuff that he put together, a few years back, on a neighborhood defense plan. There's a couple of different resources on that, including his. There's things that we want to get into for that, and I want to try to give y'all a more realistic, non-entertainment perspective of this stuff, and not from the expensive cool guy
Right.
level of mindset.
The real world. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me scan through the. I don't know how many we've still got in the.
How many we
Hang
got
on.
on? I didn't show up on mine.
Yeah, I gotta log into the
Oh, okay.
actual video to see the to see the how many we got watching.
And it looks like a lot of people in the chat are talking amongst each other too, and I think that's good.
Yeah, and that's good. That's what we
Yeah.
that's what we want. Um, this might make some noise. Let me mute it real quick so don't don't freak out if there's audio echoing. Nope, it's still muted. Good. Let's see. And we got, as of right now, there's still 40 watching. So
Okay. Good.
so that's not bad. Not bad.
Mr. Prepper said 54 watching.
Yeah, it's jumping around.
Yeah, I will.
It's at 46 now. I'm getting an update through the analytics,
Okay.
but yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else that we wanted to cover. I mean, because we could sit here and get off into the weeds all night long, but that's not the point of what I wanted to do. We've actually already gone longer than I even expected
Yeah.
to go, just because we got sidetracked when Super Brent popped
Yeah, we
in.
had
So
our special guest, our superstar came on.
yeah.
So
So I guess that's really about it, guys. Just to not keep y'all here all night. We want to start bringing this kind of stuff to you on a more regular basis. We want to start touching on more things. Again, big point tonight was just to introduce you to Noel, let y'all hear a little bit of what his background is. He's got some, he's got his credentials as good or equal to what a lot of other really popular people out there have got. He just doesn't have the flashy YouTube channel to promote it.
now I do.
Well, I won't say you got to flashy on and promote it, but yeah. Let's see. I know you guys are hitting a bunch of questions right now in the chat. Unfortunately, we can't be here all night tonight taking on those, but we will do. I've already got a couple of streams planned that I want to do that will just be Q&A sessions. We'll let y'all ask questions, and we'll try to try to touch on them and answer them. I've got a couple of people that I want to bring on to do Q&A sessions with, where you can ask these other special people questions and let them answer them. So we got a couple of cool secrets hidden in the box for now, but we'll get to those. So, all right, it's 9 o'clock. We have been on for an hour. I think it's probably good to wrap it up. If you want to, any closing thoughts on your end?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. I think this is going to be great, with people, asking questions. I'm looking forward to some of the topics, talking about the topics that we discussed. And I want this to be as interactive as we can with people, and that's the way people learn. Not that, like John said, not that we have all the answers, right? But we might have most of them between the two of us, so.
Or know somebody that we can go to find them.
That's exactly right. I mean, Brent will pop up or something, I don't know. So
There you go. We'll keep patting him on the back.
Yeah.
So all right, guys, well, we're going to wrap it up and call it a night. Y'all know the drill. Take care, stay safe, and keep getting ready, because the clock is most certainly ticking.
That's right. And always be careful.
We will. Y'all stay tuned, and I'll try to put announcements out ahead of time now. I got to start remembering to do that whenever we've got stuff coming up, and we'll go from there. So we will see y'all later.
See you guys.